Chaque semaine, dans l'Extra Interview, nous rencontrons une personnalité qui n'appartient pas au monde du cinéma ou de la série, mais qui adore ça. Et aujourd'hui, c'est une légende du rock qui nous accueille, le guitariste Slash. Après les Guns N' Roses et Velvet Revolver, c'est avec Miles Kennedy que Slash remplit le Zénith 2 soirs de suite. Et il nous parle de son amour pour le bon cinéma d'horreur et les zombies de The Walking Dead. Nous l'avons rencontré à quelques heures de son concert parisien. I was wondering if you remembered the first time you saw an horror movie, what you felt. Did you feel fascination or fear? How old were you? What was it?
Oh shit. Well, I was a little kid. I was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something like that. And it was in England, and the house that dripped blood, or any one of those, like the House of Roomwork, or any of those old Hammer movies. I saw a lot of those. And it didn't scare me. There was a certain adrenaline that it spoke to, but I really loved the creepiness and the art design and the makeup and all that kind of stuff. Just that whole, and that was something that was just in my DNA because I just was naturally attracted to it. And yeah, so that just started this whole fascination with horror and certain kinds of science fiction, anything that had monsters in it, you know, and villains and whatnot. And then when I moved to the States, then, you know, I saw like Rosemary's Baby, and I saw The Exorcist, and I saw Night of the Living Dead, and I saw The Wicker Man, and, you know, and all the different movies that were coming out, you know, Alien eventually, and, you know, any John Carpenter movies, and blah, 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 you know. So, something I never grew out of.
And this year is the 40th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we did an interview with Toby Hooper a few weeks ago, and he said something I've read you say, which was in the 70s, from this movie, there was something that you loved in this genre, which was taking the genre seriously. You know, making horror movie that could be clever, deep, with the backstories to the character. Is it something that you miss nowadays?
Yeah, there's I don't know, there was a certain kind of intellectual something that earlier horror movies had that seems to have been depleting pretty quickly over the years. Like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I won't get into the old horror movies, but people took them very seriously as great stories. You know, people were really putting a lot of time and effort into developing all these characters and developing the story, and the scary parts of it were in the story. It was in the psychological aspect of it, and you know, sure, some of them had gore and this and that and the other to sort of really give you an idea of what was happening, something very graphic. But I think what happened is in the late 70s and the 80s, when you had like Freddy Krueger and you had Mike Myers and Jason and all that kind of stuff, and they turned into these franchises, a lot of kids were going down there and you were just looking for the shock value. Yeah. And I guess it became easy just to make movies without spending too much time on the story. Of course, all the characters are disposable. And it just became a thing that was making a lot of money, and so all the studios followed that direction. So what I've been trying to do is like get into a thing where I can try and bring back more of the psychological scares and to really get into developing the story more and making characters that are that you feel something for, some sympathy or something, you know.
So this is something you try to do with slasher films. It's like
that's what I'm trying to get in. I mean, I've done one movie already, and it was along the lines of trying to make a slow burn that got scary towards the end, but you started to really sort of become interested in the characters a little bit more. And it's sort of old school, like Rosemary's Baby, where it takes a long time before anything happens. Very sort of old school.
Dad, what's going on? Go! Get in the car!
What are those? They're on every house. In what way does this cinema or any cinema do you feel shaped or influenced the way you make music, or is there any movies you think about while you compose?
I know that subconsciously the drama of it and sort of the melodies and the emotion that's evoked by certain feel, you know, has always had an influence on me musically. I think that's where long introductions to songs come from and building things, you know. And now at this point, because I've done so much working in film and I do it, my approach is so different when I'm working to a visual than when I'm just working with the idea of a 4-minute song with a rock band. And so I've started to try and use this part of my brain that writes for music and sort of get that to influence my band sort of writing style. And we have a song on the new record that was sort of the result of that, which was a song called The Unholy, which was definitely influenced by scoring, you know. So it's an interesting thing. But yeah, I would say movies have had a dramatic effect on how I think musically.
And you who are so, you need to have these backstories to the character. Is it one of the reasons why you're so deep into The Walking Dead? The idea of being able to follow some characters for a very long time and discover them step by step?
I guess around season 3, around Halloween, I just left it on. I think they were doing like a season 3 marathon. There was a bunch of people over and I didn't feel like talking to anybody, so I just watched TV. It's the best way to alienate people is just watch TV. Yeah. And I watched The Walking Dead season 3 and it was fucking great. And so around Christmas time, they did a marathon of all the seasons up until then, first, second, third seasons. And so I TiVo'd that and I watched the first episode and I got sucked into it. And I think, you know, I love the special effects and I love what Greg Nicotero's doing with everything. But at the same time, it's not just the zombies and the special effects, it's the story. And you get really into you engaging with all these different characters. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so successful.
You've never been tempted by directing?
At this point, you know, I think I'm more into trying to find all the right components and the right personnel, you know, to make the right movie. And maybe if after having produced enough movies, I might be able to sit down and go, maybe I want to direct something. But at this point, I'm really looking to meet as many people as possible and get together a good enough reputation to be able to pick and choose who I want to work with, yeah. and watch how people make movies before I actually make them.
En attendant de passer à la réalisation, Slash continue la production et a un nouveau film sur le feu pour 2015.